What's up, gang? Welcome back to Erico Blueberry. It's an unassuming Destiny podcast. Yes, it's been a while. 3 weeks we missed,
Yeah.
to be exact. My name is chillybin.
Hi, I'm Meckii.
Yes, we are back. We've got some things to catch up on. Let's just address the hospital-shaped elephant in the room. Well, maybe that's not the right...
Wow, homie, I
Yeah.
didn't put that much weight on while we were gone.
Or no, so the first couple of weeks, like obviously our last episode we ended right before going in to do that day one raid attempt. That didn't, I mean, we didn't finish it, and then we were basically spent the next like few days trying to find a time to get the group together to finish it off. Couldn't get that done before the weekly reset, meaning we lost the checkpoint. Then you and I were both pretty fucking fatigued on Destiny, and didn't do much in the game. Nor could we bring ourselves. Yeah, nor could we bring ourselves to come up in here and try to talk for an hour about the game we're not playing. And then there was basically another week of that, where we kept trying to get groups together, and it was just like scheduling issues, and a couple of people not quite being like at the light level we needed to get past some of the later encounters. So didn't end up getting it done that second week either, meaning we missed our chance for the raid jacket. Not that I think I would have bought it, but it's a nice little, like, we've done it for the last 2 raids, and it was a nice little tradition almost.
Brown jacket.
Yes, it is a little bit of, well, beige tan, khaki. Anyway, yeah, so we together have not beaten the raid. I have, because you were out, had a little bit of a mischief.
I went on a trip.
Yeah, spent some time away from a lot of things. I'll leave it up to you how much of that you want to go into. But there's good reasons why we haven't been around.
Yeah, I mean, I tweeted about it, but there's certain things I won't talk about in the open yet because I'm yet to process said trauma.
That's fair.
But I tried to break the, I think my wording on my tweet was I tried to break the land speed record with my flesh toboggan down the stairs.
Yeah, I think at one point you also said you tried to thunder crash your stairs.
Yeah, I tried to thunder crash the stairwell. I think another one was Icarus dash my stairwell.
Yep.
That's just a real fancy, fun way of saying I ate shit down my stairs. Rushing to go to work. So, if life lesson: if you're going to be late, just be late. Don't run.
Yeah, it could be worse.
Because I started at the top of the stairs and I woke up at the bottom of the stairs. And spent just over a week in hospital.
Yeah, it was.
Got myself some nifty internal damage. Yeah, won't go too much into it, but like the long of the short it is I went down the stairs and now I have a dissection in my main artery, so my superior mesenteric artery, which is pretty danger dice.
Yeah, that shit is no joke.
Yeah, so basically think about it like the lining of an artery coming off the wall of the artery, like wallpaper coming off a wall. So I've just got a piece of like
Except
my artery.
Except if that wallpaper comes off, you're in real danger.
Just got a piece of artery flapping in the breeze right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, I speak for myself, but also I'm sure everybody else out there when I say I'm glad you're okay and home. Shit was rough.
God bless Australian subsidized medical,
Wow.
because that shit has cost me no money except for $100 for my medicine. But even then, it was greatly discounted because of the medical system.
Yeah, what's the deal with ambulances in
free?
The state you're in? Yeah, because like down here, you have to have at least ambulance cover. Otherwise, you're spending like $1,000 to get an ambulance call out.
Yeah,
it's something fucked like that.
Where I am, it's free for an ambulance. The only time a cost for an ambulance comes in is if you're quite obviously, provably abusing the ambulance system.
I think that's fair.
So if you continuously call out an ambulance for a headache, they might start to be like,
Don't
You might
actually.
be wasting resources. Or if they catch you doing a prank call to an ambulance, that's a pretty big fine. And I believe in Queensland, it is like a misdemeanor charge as
Like
well.
a criminal charge?
Yeah, like it
Yeah.
goes on your record. And if you do it enough, you actually go to jail for it.
Okay, yeah. Look, it's taking it away from someone who probably quite legitimately needs it.
Mind you, this is coming from the person who, on Monday, when I had my fall, didn't call an ambulance.
Yeah, it's just, bit of guilt.
So they got very upset when I walked into the emergency after a head and neck injury potentially.
Well, shit.
I felt bad. I was like, they're really busy.
Yeah. Then yeah, I mean, you're what are we? The other night, it was 2 days ago, Tuesday, right? We hung out. We did some like low energy shit in Destiny. Just kind of like, hey, welcome back.
MomCon.
Yeah, that's right.
Milfapalooza.
Milfapalooza. Momentum. Hang on. Momentum Control. MomCon. Milfapalooza. Momathan, Conathan, depending on who you talk to.
Whatever we called it.
Whatever the brain cell decides. Yeah, just some real like low energy, welcome back the homie kind of Destiny, which I think we all needed.
Yeah.
It's been a rough couple of weeks for the whole group trying to smash our heads against this raid and get people through. And then one of us going to hospital for a week, kind of a downer.
You guys got some really good embarrassing Snapchats out of it though.
Yeah. I mean, for your benefit, I've saved none of them.
That's fine. Me and my neck brace.
Yeah.
All chins.
I mean, some of them went out on Twitter. They were pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm an idiot. I'll roast myself for being a clumsy idiot.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you don't, someone else will. And then why let them have all the fun, right?
Exactly. You can't weaponize it against me. I already have.
Yes. Okay. So moving away from that, because it's a lot. Destiny-wise, a little bit of a catch-up. So I have managed to get a clear of Vow of the Disciple. Just the one. I think that last run you were in, we got all the way to the boss, right?
Yeah.
You were there for that
We
one,
just had a couple of people with an out.
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like you already got this impression, but we got to a damage phase on the raid boss. And so I can tell you with absolute certainty, you've seen the entire raid now. Like, there's no extra thing at the end. The last stand on the boss is just do a lot of damage to him.
Yeah.
That's it. So, the idea of trying to get you through it for the first time, not at all daunting. You've seen everything already. It's just time.
I was just hoping someone in the run I was in before the incident
Yes.
Got close enough to get drop kicked because that shit is hilarious.
Yeah, I did see that animation a couple times in the last run that I did. It's just very funny. That little punt with a hard P. But yeah, so got through that. I have finally come good on raid RNG after, I would say, probably 2 years of like being a fairly active Sherpa within our group and never getting raid exotics.
Cucked by the RNG.
Yeah, like I still don't have 1,000 voices. Granted, we haven't done Last Witch that often. Still don't have Eyes of Tomorrow, and I think I'm like 20 to 30 clears of DSC, maybe more.
I'm about the same, yeah.
Still don't have Vex Mythoclast. Cleared that a bunch. And you fucking got Vex twice. Ridiculous. But I
got it twice after like what was that, our like 11th run?
Yeah, maybe.
And it finally dropped for me, and then it dropped on our next run.
Yeah, but all of that to say, finished Vow of the Disciple. Your boy got Collective Obligation. The Collective Obligation. It's hard to say, but the raid exotic. It is a very interesting weapon. Void Pulse Rifle. So sits in that energy slot. So and I've realized this after getting the exotic, on the Throne World weapons, like the fusion rifle, likely suspect, like the stuff that drops out of Wellspring, right? The ones that look all kind of square and that teal color. On the scope on a lot of them, there's like these 3 little circles, sort of around the inside edge of the circle in the scope. That's present on the scope on the exotic. But this gun is actually using that to track something. So there's the 3 little circles, and there's one on the bottom edge of that. So what this gun does is if you do a bunch of damage to something that has a void debuff applied to it, the gun will essentially store that, and it can store all 3, which is what those little dots are there to track. So it can store, so the 3 are suppress, weaken, and volatile. Volatile being the one that I like to use because I'm a Titan, where if you do enough damage to something that is volatile, it just explodes and then sort of spreads that out depending on which aspects and fragments you're running. So essentially, and there's that one of the circle on the scope, which is to basically indicate that the gun has done enough of that to charge it. And then once it's charged, you can keep pulling the other debuffs off so that you've got all 3 stored. And then it's like some of those modal weapons where you hold down the reload key and it essentially activates that charge. And so then you're shooting with whatever stored debuffs you've got. It sounds like a bit of work, because it is. Like you have to do a little bit of damage in order to get that debuff stored. My favorite place to use it right now is Gambit, because the bosses and shit are massive tanks, and I will throw that Titan frisbee at it, so it's volatile, it's debuffed, and then I'll just bean it with this gun until it's charged, and then I'll just keep that. I'll swap out, use some other gun, and then if I've got other people on my team who are also throwing Void in, which right now is fucking everybody, and then I'll be like, okay, I've got all 3 charged, I'm gonna go invade. And then I am suppressing, weakening, and making shit volatile, and other Guardians die in like maybe 2 shots. It's fucking stupid.
That's mean. I love it.
Yeah, but also like I'll store it up, and then when we get to like we're on the primeval, maybe Slayer 4 or 6 stacks, the first thing I do is I shoot the boss with that gun, put all the debuffs on it, and then everybody just wails on it. And it's pretty good for that too. Activating that charge, I think it runs for like, it's either 5 or 10 seconds. Like, it's not a lot, but also I think I'm remembering this right, if you shoot something that has a debuff applied to it, it reloads the gun.
Oh.
Yeah. So when you're pumping it out, you just like keep going until that shit runs out. It's a real good time. Like, I love an exotic pulse right now because they're plus 50% damage against miners compared to last season. So they feel really good. It has a bit of a, like, you know, the Omelon guns that sound a bit wet when you fire them. It's a little bit like that.
I know exactly the sound here.
But I'm enjoying it. I know a lot of people find it a bit fiddly, and to be fair, in a lot of use cases it is. Maybe next season when people aren't running Void as much, it might be different. But the other thing that I got thinking about is, you know, there's those seals for each raid, and they've got a bunch of challenges you've got to do. One of them is to do it with a fire team full of Void. Take it for that.
So you could bully.
Yeah, just start spreading debuffs around that aren't yours.
Yeah.
Maybe you're running weapons that apply debuffs. Maybe someone on your team's running a glaive that does it. Like, there's so many options. It's a bit maybe a bit more of like a team comp weapon as opposed to just an individual thing. Although being able to even just shoot volatile at stuff is pretty useful.
Yeah, and then even then with all the aspects and stuff, grenades and melees, especially for like the warlocks, you could swap that up quite a lot.
Yeah, the thing I find with the Titan in particular is like the grenade and the melee, if it's a small enough enemy, it's just a one-shot kill, right? And so for that gun to be able to take the charge, that enemy has to stay up, have the debuff applied to it, and maybe able to lay enough gun damage into it without killing it. So that's why it's really good against like big bosses, maybe champs. Probably be pretty good in might even be good in Grandmasters, where you're coming in basically contest mode, right? You're underpowered, and being able to just apply 3 debuffs to something could be pretty useful.
Could be big.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm gonna keep sort of experimenting with it, see where it makes sense. But yeah, it's a fun little gun. It looks weird too. It's like curvy metal.
Yeah, I looked
shiny.
it up. I looked it up before the pod because like I wasn't too familiar with it, because I went into VOW the first 3 or 4 attempts completely blind. I wanted everything to be a surprise, didn't look at any of the encounters, didn't look at any of the drops, didn't even look at the armor drops.
Yeah, I was the same.
I had no clue. I had absolutely no clue what the raid exotic was. I knew it was a void pulse, and that was it. Or like a first slot pulse. I didn't like, it was just a complete surprise. So I did have to look it up, and I was like, oh, that is a very interesting
it's also
design.
Got this. So when it's got that charge, like as that charge is building up in the gun's got this real weird effect applied to it. So, you know, in that cutscene at the end of the campaign, when the witness comes out of that weird goo shit, that goo, that kind of like flowing, bubbling goo, it builds up on the gun as it charges up. And so it's just like fucking moving in your hands almost. And that's kind of your indication of how full that charge is before it's ready.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's like Taraba does a similar thing where there's essentially like this thing down the side that fills up as it's building up. Ravenous Beast, I believe it's called, before you can actually like flip that switch and turn that on.
I was gonna say No Time has a visual indicator as well. It starts to build that like waviness at the end of the muzzle up.
I'll be honest, I haven't used it since like early Beyond Light. I'd have to run it again to see
there's
that.
There's a few guns that have those really fun kind of visual indicators of like build up to like a perk or something. Oh,
yeah,
I want it now.
Yeah, and
I feel like I could bully with that.
Yes, it's pretty good. Also, the raid armor is both real cool looking and deeply unsettling in some cases. Particularly in the helmet, like the Titan one, it looks like a fucking, I don't know, garbage compactor shredder type thing. It's like doing this, but it's all metal and it's moving really slowly, constantly moving. There's this animation that's applied to it, which is dope, but gross.
The Warlock one reminds me simultaneously of a Beholder from D&D.
Yeah. It's got like little tendrils that are like metal, and they're all just kind of like doing this.
Yeah,
around
and
the face.
Like it's like both of those. And then the Hunter gets screwed over and just gets a funny little face.
The Hunter gets the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen.
It's just a funny little face. He's just a fun little guy.
It looks like, I'm trying to think of how to describe this. It's like a white tea cozy. It's like stringy bits hanging down. Well, depending on the shader, I guess, but like stringy bits that kind of go vertically like bars.
Like a grate.
And then there's like this weird little smiling face on the front of it. And if you put a certain shader on it, it looks fucking goofy.
It's not exactly a smile. It's like a smile, but it looks anxious.
But it's also like the eyes are turned down on the outside edge. It's
to me, it looks anxious. Like it's like a really uncomfortable, like smiling for a photo, but you're not quite comfortable. Like a little.
It's like no good. It reminds me of that, I can't remember what season it was from, but there's like that Hunter face.
Oh, the Harold face, the one that sends me.
Yeah, but it's like a little mask that is basically just like this, and it's got the little, it's like one of the, I think it was maybe Season of the Chosen, or...
It's a newer one.
Yeah, it was definitely from the last year, but it was like, I think the last Cabal season of the Chosen. I'm pretty sure it was that one, because I think it's Cabal themed. But yeah,
because it was the funny little face, and then the Titans got what we're calling the Hitachi wand, or the Pretty Princess, because it's also got tassels on it. Yes. And then the Warlocks got the Epcot ball, essentially.
That's right. Epcot.
It's from that pack.
Yes, and the weird thing about that is, There's a certain thing you can do with hunter transmogs or just armor, I guess, where there's a certain cloak you can put on that makes whatever hood would be applied go away, and so you're just like naked head plus whatever ornament you put on the head. That is, and when you do that, what you find out is that goofy hunter face is just this little mask and then straps around the back. Like there's nothing else to it.
It's like the 30th anniversary Warlock mask. It's
Yeah.
exactly the same. It's just speed dealer shades on a hockey mask strapped to someone's head.
Yes.
That's all it is.
Yeah, and then there's some other parts of the Vow armor sets that have like moving parts. I think the hunter cloak has like this weird metal spine to it with like moving tendrils coming out the back, and it's got like this collar. This really tall collar piece behind the head that comes up to like here. I
haven't got the chest yet, but I know the Warlock Bond. It has like really long, like almost like a lionfish. It moves kind of like that, like a lionfish kind of spines.
I think there's a ghost shell too that is of the same vein.
But
I want all of them. Like I want them all, but I also hate them and I love them, and I want to put weird shaders on it.
That's my thing. It's like the moment I get them, I stick like a Emerith atrocity or something on it. Just like, yes, thank you.
Neo Pop Wave, bring back the shiny ones.
Or that broken shader.
It's not broken. Not broken anymore.
Oh,
they fixed that after a week.
It reminded me of Blue Ring Octopus.
Yeah,
I really liked it.
It looked like that. Just put butterbark on everything.
Don't come near me. I'm poisonous.
But also pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like the raid weapons are also really, really interesting. Pretty cool.
They're unsettling as well.
Yeah, they've got like you've seen the boat, the cart with like the rotating rings on it. I don't know what it's actually called, but like that is built into all of the weapons in different ways, and they seem to have no actual like barrel for things to come out of. It's just like gun, end.
Yeah,
where are the bullets coming from? I don't know.
It's all oddly unsettling for different reasons.
Yeah, and they've all got this origin.
Which I mean is Vow.
Yeah, and then they've all got the origin trait Soul Drinker, which I think is basically like a lifesteal. Yeah, I do enjoy that submachine gun. It feels really good.
Essentially.
Yeah, the whole thing is a lifesteal. But yeah, so we're gearing up to try and basically we're playing calendar Tetris at the moment, trying to figure out like if we can get enough people together this week to get you through, so you can tick that box off, get a bit of closure, get a bit of loot. Maybe you get an exotic.
I just want to get that, the little up on the board.
That's it. So yeah, I think that's kind of all the raid stuff. There's a whole bunch of lore and stuff, obviously, that people are digging into now. Some of it's real fucking interesting and concerning. Rolk is a big weirdo. That's all I know at this stage.
That's some of the stuff I've seen online. Yeah, Rolk is... Ugh.
Yeah, dude basically genocided his own race.
Yeah, Yuck. Just a real pick-me, huh?
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, and the word is just like, okay, I will.
I've seen some people online describe him as like not a simp, but like kind of like an incel for the witness. It's a little bit of a simp, and then other people just be like, "Yo, this man straight up is a pick-me."
Yeah, that tracks, honestly. Oof.
And I know all the people who made oddly horny art about him in the beginning suddenly, like when all the new lore started to drop, was like, quiet, maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah, look at the slender boy. Look at him strut. Oh, actually, no, he's a monster.
Look at this big fancy man.
Look at his little kick.
Someone from our raid team calls his attack, like the damage phase, the mole ninja, and I can't get over it. Oh, when it
comes in upside down, like does little flip shit.
And then when he goes into his damage phase and does like the charge and stuff, I was just like,
fucking Naruto.
I've got the power of God and anime on my side energy.
Yeah.
Someone else online described it as so when we were doing it, I was like, this feels like something. And I couldn't put my hand on what it felt like. And then someone on Twitter went, yo, does the Rolk fight feel like a Kingdom Hearts boss battle to anyone else? And I was like, that's it.
Is it? I never played
It
them.
feels like a Kingdom Hearts boss fight. Like with the way he moves and the way you have to dodge like clear kind of tracked attacks.
Yeah.
And the way he kind of like he acts like a Kingdom Hearts boss, but then the way he kind of like telegrams his like pending attacks is very like and as soon as I read that on Twitter, I was like, that's fucking it. That's what I was thinking during that fight. I was like, this feels like something. And then after I was like, is it kind of Dark Soul-y? And then some girl I shouldn't say some girl, but like a female content creator on Twitter was just like, hey, did the Rolk boss battle feel like a Kingdom Hearts boss fight to anyone else? And I was like, yes, like in the replies, like, thank you. I was trying to figure out.
Yeah. See, I never play those games, but thinking about like what you described about where he kind of indicates what the attacks are going to be, like, I actually really appreciate that because it makes the whole thing a lot more predictable.
But it's also like an artistic flair before he does something, which adds an extra kind of energy to a close combat boss encounter like that.
Yeah.
And it's just it's not Kingdom Hearts, but like that was what it felt like to me, but maybe like old school Japanese video game boss fights.
Right, yeah.
Even kind of Dark Souls to agree, because like Dark Souls they kind of very clearly telegram? I don't know. They very clearly announce what attack they're using with some sort of movement or call or noise, and then that's what he does. So
yeah, and then think about
you're about to go back into WoW and just think of Kingdom Hearts the whole time.
Yeah. But like comparing it to previous raid bosses, like, you know, Atheon has like random teleports involved. Callus did a similar thing. This is basically like you can set the Rolk fight up however you want. Like, there's a couple different ways to do the symbol reading, and then you can take complete control over how you handle every aspect of that fight. It's not like, oh, let's wait and see who gets teleported and then figure it out from there on the fly, right? You can literally plan the entire fight before you start it. That's pretty nice.
It does feel very old school, like now that people have made the comparison and I think about it, I'm like, yeah, it does feel very old school, like video game boss fight to me, which I really like.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good fight. It is a very good raid.
Pretty.
Yeah, it's a very good raid.
It's a pretty boss fight. Like, he is the way they've animated him and the way he moves is very interesting, even if it is Mole Ninja.
Yeah.
I've got the power of God and anime on my side.
Yeah. I also I do really appreciate the way that this raid has actual big lore implications, and I think the last time that really happened was Last Wish. To be honest, like, you know, Deepstone Crypt was interesting, and it was more about adding context to like Exos and Deepstone Crypt and Clovis Bray, but it was not. Yeah, it was not so much like cool Tanix is back, but that ultimately means nothing.
Yeah. The space station crashed into Europa. Now what?
Yeah, now Europe is kind of messed up, and every week it changes where, right? But that's kind of it. And this feels like them going, okay, what if Last Wish plus that though, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. And then there's the preservation mission, which is essentially like
takes you back into the Dark City.
Yeah, well, like you can go in solo or up to 3. It basically takes you from the start of the raid up to just past the first encounter. In terms of like the areas that you go through, you're not doing the first encounter. You're just killing enemies through it. But that is also introducing a whole bunch of lore stuff through that mission as well.
Takes you to Human Horsepede.
Yes, fucking the horse with
Horsey
6
with the
butts.
leggies.
That thing will forever confuse me. There's 2 of them. I don't know why. Who rides these horses?
Loki. It's Loki's children.
Yes. Yes. Rolk needs
just
to sit astride 2 giant 6
yeah,
horses.
It's just very interesting that that's there, and I always, every time I see it, I'm like, I wonder what the implication of this is.
Yeah, like
are they just going to be like BT dubs, those weird horses?
Yeah,
Here's some lore.
I'm not fully caught up on like what I'm like working my way through a bunch of videos of people doing like lore analysis on the stuff from the raid and what's come out after it. I have not heard anyone talk about the weird horses yet, but I want to.
Next raid boss.
I want the 20-minute
Many
Bife
horses.
video that tells me about the 12-legged horses.
Yeah.
Why they exist. How do they poop?
Give Rolk a Loki story arc where he just starts having weird kids. Just gets horny for different hive gods and has weird kids.
No, it's just a witness doing more experiments. That's kind of what that entire place is dude's been messing around, fucking around and finding out.
Just cutting up a bunch of worms, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's gross.
Didn't know worms came in that many sizes, but
he's growing his own. They're farm to table, homie. They're organic, farm grown worms. They get as big as he wants them
stem
to.
cells.
It's like you see those farmers that grow the giant pumpkins. Like, how'd you do that? It's like, I don't know. Just worked it out over about 20 years.
He reminds me. I don't know if you had them in New Zealand, but he reminds me of silkworms. So like a really common pet when you're a little kid over here is like a tank full of silkworms and you just feed them mulberry leaves. Yeah. Because like most well, where I'm from in Queensland, because I'm kind of rural, we have a bunch of produce stores out here. So like they sell like chicken and cattle and then like everything you need for like chicken, cattle, ducks. So foods, brooders, everything you need. And for some reason, they always have silkworms as well.
Right. People trying to make silk. What are you doing up there?
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but you can just buy like 20 silkworms for like $6. And then you just put them in one of those plastic kids bug catchers. And then you just feed them mulberry leaves. And then eventually they make a silk cocoon of different colors, depends on the diet. And then they turn into moths and you let them go.
Okay.
And I think it's just like just one of those things that some kids had in their childhood is fucking silkworms. They're technically caterpillars.
I don't think I've known anyone that did that until now.
Yeah, I used to have them all the time. As an adult, I was like, man, silkworms.
Just sitting around thinking about silkworms.
Man, silkworms. I also am an adult with sea monkeys, so...
Wait, how did I not know this?
I have sea monkeys downstairs in my kitchen.
I don't think anyone still had sea monkeys.
Yeah, you can get them online. It's just krill.
Yeah, okay.
So if I get silkworms, I'll have the hive special. I'll have krills and worms.
Okay.
And worms will start speaking to the krill.
I was wondering where this was going. It's come full circle. We're back to Destiny.
And then I'll have my own big moth lady.
Okay, that part I'm worried about. Maybe you're the moth lady. You just gotta dress up.
Maybe we're all Savathun. We're all our own Savathun.
I do be telling myself lies.
I was gonna say, we're all lying to ourselves about something.
Anyway, before we go down that road, seasonal story stuff has, as far as I can tell, mostly finished. On account of the seasonal quest for me is now complete, and I've like ordered a t-shirt that I unlocked for completing it, and it's actually pretty dope.
Which one is that?
It's like a black long sleeve with like a purple scion on, yeah, and like stuff down the sleeves, which I really like on a long sleeve tee.
That because I feel like not that you can see in the pod, but my fashion is triple XL t-shirts and boots. That's it.
Yeah.
I want that in like a double XL because I feel like it would be very J fashion.
Well, you just all you got to do is finish that seasonal quest. Do those missions.
Me.
Okay.
I'm sick. Carry me.
I got the black long paw. Can't play Destiny. But the last sort of few weeks were like, so you saw some of the seasonal stuff, right? There was like the psyops, Saladin with his weird scion in the lab.
Yeah, the last thing I saw was, and I got really excited because Kitale, however you want to say it, was like, fuck you, Crow, you die, because you killed one of mine, so...
Yes.
I'm gonna cave your head in, and then Saladin being like, no.
Yeah, okay.
What if I came and worked for you?
Good, because
And I'm
I
like,
put that in the
no.
notes because I couldn't remember if you were around to see that.
Kill Crow. Why?
Yeah, well, okay. That's good then, because I think you're only like maybe a week behind finishing that quest.
Or at least just take him away. Why couldn't they just take him away? Why do you have to be Saladin?
Yeah, okay. So like for the viewers, the notes that I put down were Saladin going full Guantanamo on a Scion, just straight interrogating that dude's head. Crow doing an oopsie and killing that thing out of guilt. And then, yeah, Saladin joining Keitel to fix Crow's oopsie, becoming Brackus Forge. And then next to the war table, there's like the little audio moments that you can catch as you progress through the quest. That dude turned up and beat a whole bunch of Cabal up, and now he's Valis. Dude is just like getting promoted in his first week.
He's an Iron Lord. Like
psycho.
it's expected product behavior that he's going to turn up and assert dominance. Homie brings a fire pit with him every week for IB.
Yeah, and it sounds like he's running IB with the Cabal, and that Keitel is suggesting changes to it. And that's like a real weird in-game way of them talking about maybe we're going to rework IB. I don't know if they actually are, but that would be a really cool way for them to like foreshadow it and be like, this is actually Keitel's week for IB, and it's fucking just mayhem, but IB.
Yeah.
That'd be all right.
Like it'd be a really interesting way to cycle in different game modes like they kind of have with Trials.
Yes. Yeah.
And tweaking it that way and just using Keitel as kind of like a hey.
Yeah. I don't know if they're actually going to, but like if they were, that's a very fun way for them to get there, as opposed to just rather than reading updates and patch notes.
Just more or less be like, yeah, Saint got bored with Trials, I guess, so that's why some of the stuff is changing. He's softening in his old age, so now we have these new game modes. That'll do.
Yeah, so some fun stuff in there. But yeah, I think I don't know what else we're going to get for the rest of the season, which I think ends in May. So we've still got like a month and a bit. Whether or not
we've got Guardian Games, which is 2 weeks.
We do. Maybe we get like a little thing towards the end of the season to like lead into the next one. But as far as we know right now, nothing. And that's okay. There's plenty to do.
Maybe another PsyOps, and this PsyOps pays off in a big way in terms of intel or something, or
maybe
Saladin caves some more heads in.
I mean, that's always going to happen.
He gets sick of people's shit and punts another Cabal through a window.
I mean, I feel like he's going to do that. Just, that's always true.
He's just a curmudgeonly old man.
Yeah, but also still can whoop your ass.
Yeah. He's my grandfather.
Has been to war.
If he throws a sandal at me, I'll know. Granddad?
Yeah. The exotic is just like some legs, and it's just sandals.
A pair of Hawaiian woven flip-flops.
And just denim shorts.
Just a sari. I've been caught smoking by the bins again. No.
Duh. Catch that. Just turns the Titan Frisbee into a jandal. Jandal. Yeah. That's my New Zealand showing right there.
Yeah, jandal.
I'm never calling them thongs. You're crazy, Australia.
Flip-flops.
Flip-flops or jandals?
I wear Crocs, so.
Yeah, you don't have a leg to stand on, homie.
I'm on a particular type of trash.
What else is going on? Weapon crafting. They've increased the material caps for the bits and pieces you need to build weapons. That's fine. You've been away. I've built a really gross fusion rifle. So there's the likely suspect, the sort of Throne World fusion.
Yes.
I dropped one a while back that had heating up and successful warm up, which basically means as I get
It gets
kills,
real warm.
no, as I get kills with it, it both becomes more stable and charges faster.
Oh shit.
So what I've done is get one of those to build, like craft one, shape one, sorry, get it to level 16 so that I've unlocked all of the enhanced perks, and then put enhanced successful warm up and enhanced perpetual motion. So as soon as I start getting a couple kills with it, and I keep moving around because it charges, I don't want to stand still for that. It's disgusting.
I was gonna say, as soon as you said that, my brain started doing the math.
Yeah,
I was like,
we did a Grasp of Avarice last night, and I used it in that boss fight because there's just a bunch of shit ads, and they all drop in together. So I just like sprayed because it melts and goes through them, and I would just kill like the whole wave in a single shot, and then I would just like run around and kill all the other ones, and I'm just like, it's silly how fast that thing fires. I really, really enjoy it.
yeah, that's kind of nasty.
Yeah. And so yeah, there's a few other guns I want to fuck around with a bit. I've got a Peace of Mind, which is like the Cabal seasonal pulse rifle, kinetic pulse rifle. Just like a random drop I got has overflow and vorpal. And when you overflow it, i.e. pick up green or purple ammo, it puts 72 bullets in that thing. And it also has vorpal. And pulse rifles got a bit of a boost this season. So I was using that through the raid, actually, like especially in the caretaker fight. Like I run out of Gjallarhorn ammo. It's like, cool, pulling out this pulse rifle that has 72 bullets in it. What even is reloading?
Yeah.
So I want to build one because it's also a very stable gun. So I want to build one of those and see what I can put on it because I do enjoy it. I like a kinetic pulse every now and then.
I can see the weapon crafting becoming the bane of your existence via me.
Yeah, cool. Like you can build the gun that works for you and then use it and make it better.
Have not touched it and do not care about it.
Yeah,
I do not care for it.
Yes, but if there's a particular type of gun you like using more than any others, I would recommend building one and then having a look at like what some of the higher tier perks are that you can choose from, because you can do some really gross shit with that system.
Maybe I'll start caring.
It's worth a look. It's worth a look, at least at what's available in terms of the weapons, because like obviously not everything can be crafted. The raid weapons can be, but it requires you to get red border raid weapons enough times.
Yeah.
So there might be other ones to start with, but you're going to end up with a bunch of materials you need to use for something. And Osteostriga can only get Masterwork so many times. But that's worth doing too, because you can overflow that thing up to like 107 rounds. That's a silly gun. That gun.
Maybe I'll start paying attention. I'll do some.
Osteo's a pain in the ass for momentum control. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. I've seen a couple of videos float around in my recommendations of like detailed breakdowns of the crafting system and how it all works and how to get the most out of it. So I'll probably start doing research and then going straight in educated instead of what I usually do, which is in the voice chat be like, hey,
how does this work?
What's this do?
Yeah.
And then you guys be like, have you not used that yet?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, the main bit of advice I'd have is like, if you can find a gun that you can craft that you want to like put the work into, just do that initial craft of it with a set of perks that like you're comfortable using. Maybe it's not ideal, but it's like good enough for you to stick with it. And then just grind that thing up to level 16 or whatever it is when all of the perks are unlocked, and then just pick your enhanced perks. Like
for me, it'll probably be like water rifles.
Yeah. So there's the couple from this season that are actually really good and would probably make some good rolls. But yeah, like I wouldn't fuck around with like, oh, I've got it to level 6. What can I do now? And then recraft it. Just get it up to like 16, unlock everything, do some busted shit with it.
like me with umbrals and you being like, do you not focus your umbrals, and me be like, what?
I don't half
No,
the
I
time
just
either, unless I need to.
I go to the inventory and I press F. That's what I do with my umbrella.
I get to that point late in the season where I'm like, I don't need these. I'm at power cap. I've got what I want. Leave me alone.
Oh, poor Alex, when he asked me about what level the war table was up to, and I went, what? And he goes, do you not do battlegrounds? And I was like, only if they're part of a quest. And he's like, what?
That's such a shame. It's like the seasonal challenges are one of the best ways to get a lot of XP, and there's a bunch of them tied to the war table.
Exactly.
Holy shit.
That's how I got all that XP and got to level on the last week of Destiny. Remember where I was playing a bunch of Destiny and like doing all those seasonals?
Yep.
I did like four of the war table levels and then got 2 level in game and went, well, that's it. And people were like, you gonna keep doing battlegrounds? I'm like, nah. I hit the cap. I'm good.
Oh my god.
I hit the level cap. I'm good. That's all I wanted to do.
Oh
Same with the
boy.
loom. I haven't done anything in the loom either.
Yeah, I mean, especially on my Titan, like I've got 10 of the transmog materials just sitting there. I'm not like using them. I'll do the bounties when I remember to just like keep doing more, but I basically only play my Titan at the moment. So
Yeah, I don't really transmog.
see, I'm itchy about it. Like I did a whole new one for the raid, and I kind of want to just do another one. I'm kind of bored of this look already.
I've just got my pimp goblin, trash deer, and then that nightmare one that Alex hates. That's like neon pink and is like 6 different armor sets. And it's terrible. He hates it. Every time I put it on, he's like, "Oh, garbage Meckie's back."
Yeah, it's not good. Not
It's
good at
terrible.
all.
That's why I load into every cutscene. Like, "Hi, it's me."
I'm back.
Eee.
So what else? Oh, I put in the work to get the Titan exotic glaive.
Yes.
That was a big pain in the ass to work towards because like had to do enough of the wellsprings to get come to pass and tarnation to drop enough that I could craft one of each. Had to finish that whole quest. Then there was like another quest from the investigation board on the Enclave. That part was not too bad, but did all the work, got that Titan glaive. Probably not going to use it. It's kind of a pain to use. You have to land, I think it's 4 hits with the projectile part of it to charge the actual like point of the glaive, which is shooting the little Titan bubble. And like that thing's all right. It's just with how fast the actual Ward of Dawn charges, maybe not what I'm going to reach for. If I wasn't running Ward of Dawn, yeah, that was little cat hearing noises wanting to come out. Anyway, yeah, with how fast I get Ward of Dawn, I don't think I need those bubbles. I'm not like maybe it'll make sense in some scenarios, but I tried it out in the throw mode and I was like, cool, this bubble's neat. Vault. Yeah, like the other ones are probably a bit more useful generally, I think.
I've seen that sentiment a little bit online with all of them where people were like, yeah, man, these like exotic glaives were such a big part of the trailer and everyone was so psyched for them. And now that we've got them, we're like, oh, our specials and our abilities are probably a lot more convenient.
Yeah, and it's not as good as the Enigma, the one that you get during the campaign where you can like level it up and craft it and do all the other perks and shit. It's like, no, this exotic glaive just does what it does. There's not really much else you can do with it. But like, what is it? The Hunter one.
They look cool.
Is it the Hunter one that does the electricity along the ground?
Yeah.
And the Warlock one
and then
is healing?
Void is a rift, I think, of some variety.
Yeah. So like,
which I mean, if you want to stack an empowering rift and then have that for a healing rift, that's pretty fun. But like, even then, there's other things you can do.
Yeah,
like,
and also like having to land 4 shots with the glaive, which fires pretty slowly before you can even do that. It's a bit of a pain.
Yeah.
Hello, cat.
Meow.
That's probably a sign we need to wrap things up shortly. She wants to get out and about. The other thing I wanted to mention is they basically come out and said, okay, we've done the Void rework. Solar and Arc are coming in the next 2 seasons. They haven't said which one's coming first, but within 6 months, we'll have all of that done.
Yeah.
Sorry, someone's just coming and taking the cat away, and I'm very grateful.
She was just excited about the new light class change.
Yeah, she's full arc, spicy little thing.
Yeah, I'm excited for that just because Void was fantastic.
Yes.
So me as a filthy little arc goblin wants to know what they're gonna do for that, because if I can use it to bully more people, I certainly will.
Oh yeah, I think the thing for me
My
is like,
number one Gambit subclass, because I just like going in and clearing out. Oh, you're working on your primeval? No more.
no, good night. The thing for me is like, obviously right now with the Void rework, Arc and Soul are basically here, and Void is just sitting up here because there's just so much more you can do with it. When Arc and Solar start to get up to that level, I'm excited to see people run things other than Void in Crucible, for example. I'm not saying it's like every match all the time, but there is a lot of it. The same thing goes for Gambit. Any of those competitive modes, it's kind of all you're seeing at the moment because it is so good. So yeah, I've gone back to do Solar and Arc stuff a couple of times when it was necessary, and it just didn't feel as good. Like going through those menus and being like, oh, I am actually pretty limited with this, aren't I?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the hard part. It's like I love Arc, but like all I touch at the moment in Arc is Chaos Reach.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
and maybe Storm Trance in Trials, because I'm a shithead who uses Arc Souls.
Yeah, and I think someone was telling me like the team that works on those systems basically said once we're done with those, we're going quiet. And my gut feeling on that is with Lightfall, we see additional darkness subclasses come through, which I remember them saying they want to get to the point where there's 3 of each. And then having done the rework on the existing ones to get them all working on that same underlying system, that should be easier for them to introduce than it might have been previously. So that's pretty exciting. Plenty
This
of
is
time to do
Lightfall
that.
and then the final shape, right?
Correct.
So we've got 3 years of active Destiny content, potentially.
Well, I mean, they've also said there will be more Destiny 2 after the final shape. So
Yeah. Plus their new thing they're working on.
yeah, which is like a fully separate universe, IP, franchise, whatever.
Yeah. That I'm excited for.
Yeah, I'm keen to see what else they do. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, then there was that weird DMCA stuff.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, in case people watching this are not all over Destiny Twitter, like sometimes you and I are, not that we participate, we just see enough of it. My block finger is getting a lot, no, not block, my mute finger is getting a lot of work these days.
Oh no, I just straight up block people now. I'm like,
the funny thing with muting is then when other tweets start popping up and then I go into the replies and it's all just, this tweet is from an account you've muted, and it's just all the way down. I'm like, just shut up, go away. But no, so there was a bunch of like big name content creators within the Destiny community that were getting DMCA takedowns, getting channel strikes, to the point where it was like getting close to their channels being removed when you get to 3. And them kind of being like, hey Bungie, what the fuck? And also people pointing the blame at this company, I think it's CSC, which in the past has done DMCA related stuff for Bungie. And Bungie going like, hey, it's not us. Also, it's not them. We're looking into it. Bungie ended up working with Google, I think, to kind of like obviously reverse all the strikes and shit, get that all ironed out. Obviously, those people not able to earn money on views and videos during that time, which is a shame. But it is what it is. Basically, what they've come out with in the last few days, I think, is an actual lawsuit against people that they cannot name. It's a lawsuit against John Doe's 1 through 10, which to me either means they know who they are and don't want to name them publicly, because how else would you know there's 10 people? Or they just straight up don't actually know and they're still trying to get that information, but they're getting this vehicle moving But it's big money. Like per
Yeah.
infringement, it's like 5 figures.
Yeah. As someone who has a qualification, a degree
Hmm.
in copyright and trademarking, and because I did marketing stuff and PR stuff, so you have to kind
Yeah.
of understand that shit. Yeah, there was a couple of different layers to that. One, I was just insanely disappointed when I looked at the copyright infringement notices that some creators were putting on their Twitter to be like, Bungie, what the fuck? I was looking at them and I was like, this is not Bungie. Like I was like, that's not Bungie. When Bungie copyright strikes, they don't copyright as Bungie. They copyright as Bungie Entertainment Inc. or something like that.
Yeah,
Like they will have their LLC or their
Yeah.
INC or something in it. Like Nintendo will never just be Nintendo when they copyright strike you. It'll be Nintendo America, Nintendo Japan, Nintendo Entertainment.
Yeah.
Like
it's worth clarifying that like the people filing these copyright strikes were doing so as bad actors.
fraudulently.
Fraudulent copyright strikes essentially.
But they were copywriting under a fraudulent party, but it was just the ferocity and just the absolute ire that some of these content creators came after, not only Bungie, but they were going after community managers and developers and directors and just going after them and just being like, you know, saying some pretty hyperbolic shit. And it's just like the copyright system is known to be abused. That's the meme. Like it's not just happening to Destiny creators, it's happening to Call of Duty creators, it's happening to Fallout creators. It doesn't matter. Copyright system gets abused. But also like just looking at the takedown notice, I was like, that's not Bungie.
Yeah.
That's not Bungie. I do have like obviously insider knowledge and then also qualifications that like I can look at something pretty critically and be like, are you sure though? Obviously I have that benefit kind of, but even then it was like that's not a proper takedown notice. Like that's not Bungie. That's not Bungie's trading name. It's not their legal name. But then looking at the lawsuit information that is available, thank you America for your Freedom of Information Act, where you can just fucking go on a website and pull up court cases.
Yeah.
What the hell? Like in Australia, we don't have freedom of information. We have
it
like
depends what the
something.
It depends what the court case is and who's involved. Like as a public figure, like government official or something, like you can pretty easily find that shit.
We don't really have freedom of information laws here, or like an FOI, and we don't have, freedom of speech here. But looking at the court case, it looks like after they got Google to help them reverse and take down those DMCA charges, which would be easy enough because all Bungie needs to do is prove that they're fraudulent and Google can actually reverse them. Happens a lot with music. It looks like then Bungie or Bungie's law team, lawyers, whoever they've hired, have then gone on to subpoena Google for essentially every scrap of information from these DMCAs, including IP addresses, sources, accounts linked to the claims. And people think they're smart, but you can glean a lot of information off something like an IP address and an email address. Like people think they can spoof that shit by using a VPN and creating a throwaway account, but Google keeps a lot more information than you'll want to think they do.
And also like VPN providers use a known set of exit nodes, so you can track down which VPN they're using, probably subpoena the VPN company. You could track that shit down.
And with a good enough excuse and a lot of money, you can subpoena for pretty much anything you want.
Hey, they got their Sony money now.
Yeah. So, and they're going for damages.
Yeah.
Big, because that'd be easily proven. They just have to take the tweets to court and be like, this is damages.
Yeah. It's reputational damage. It's a bunch of ways you can slice that.
The content creators who have been affected by these false claims can also tack in onto the court case.
Well, a bunch of them are named in it.
And also go in for damages. They can prove that they lost income because of these claims as well. So like these people who have done this are I know it sounds really terrible, because realistically, some of them might have not been named because they're minors,
Hmm.
but um, it's a little bit like the H3H3 Matt Hoss case,
Right.
where I hope Bungie wins, and I hope these content creators win, and I hope these people get made an example of.
Yeah. But also,
Because it's
I honestly hope that it leads to someone looking at the DMCA system on YouTube and being like,
yeah,
this
that too.
actually sucks. Like someone just created an account and immediately filed a DMCA claim.
Yeah. And
Like,
the same thing kind of happened after the Matt Hoss and H3H3 case, where not only did the claim system get looked at, but fair use
yeah.
was also taken
Yeah, I was
pretty
gonna
seriously by YouTube, and they defined.
open that door because some of the people making noise about this, their channel is literally just putting up Destiny music and doing nothing else with it. And there's been some
A lot
interesting
of it does
interesting developments with
encroach
that.
on fair use. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's an archival element there which I sympathize with, which is the music doesn't exist in the game anymore. It's a way to get it and listen to it, enjoy it in a way that Bungie doesn't provide. The flip side of that, which I think is actually a pretty positive outcome, is Bungie have since said, after this has come out, hey, if you want to do this, if you want to upload this music to your channel, here's an email address to email and ask for permission to do so. And chances are they'll let them because like they're not making it available, they're not trying to profit off it. They basically said like you can't profit off it, but you can by all means
Use it.
do it with
Yeah.
permission.
You
But
can't monetize the content.
yes, but at the time these claims were filed, fraudulent or not, those people were breaking copyright. Like they should not have been
Yeah.
uploading that content and claiming it as some like hardship that they've been taken down because by rights they could have been at any point.
Especially those, like, without calling anyone out by name, the people who sat there and were like, we didn't monetize the videos, but then people were able to pull up screenshots of ads on the videos and ads on the page.
Yeah.
And then being like, yeah, but you're still a monetized channel.
Yeah.
So even demonetized videos can make a channel a little bit of money just by click-throughs and other things going on
like
the page.
depending on the nature of like Bungie's licensing agreements, terms of service agreements, they could have still been breaching it even with unmonetized, demonetized content.
And that's the thing too, like realistically, and this is from working in the content creation industry, Bungie is actually very lenient. Very, very lenient.
Yeah.
There
as
are
long as
there
you're
are
not making a problem for them, right?
there are production studios and developers and musicians and composers and stuff who make music for games like Black Ops and Call of Duty and Fallout and Fortnite, who will just strike it. And they're within their right to do so.
Yeah.
Because it's downloaded assets property. Or stolen assets.
Yeah.
Their property, they created it. But like when you look at the scope of Bungie content and the scope of channels and the scope of what kind of creative content exists around Bungie, like people want to complain right now, even though a lot of those claims are fraudulent. Bungie is very lenient.
Yeah, because
with their community,
some of that stuff
very lenient.
was people being like, oh, but the work I put in to like reassemble and archive this music, like, oh, I'm pulling these game files out and breaking them apart and pulling the music out and then reassembling it. It's like, okay, well, you've also just broken the subscriber agreement for Destiny 2. Like, why are you admitting all of these wrongdoings and claiming that you're allowed to do it? Like, you clearly don't understand what you're doing.
Yeah. That was a few conversations I had, and they always had an "oh, but," and I'm like,
you shouldn't be doing it.
Don't make me take a picture of my fucking degree and be like, or but me again, homie.
Yeah.
Especially when I would reply to them and be like, look, man, you're lucky it was this one video that got dinked because your entire channel is stolen content and stolen music. Like, you are very lucky. It's just this one video that got dinked. And then be like, oh, but, and me be like, well, here's this part of the copyright law. Here's this part of Bungie's user agreement. Here's this, and then be like, oh, but, and me be like, do I have to be that bitch who like takes a picture of their degree? Just like,
no, just report them at that point. Be like, hey, I think this channel might be stealing your stuff.
Nah, not that petty. But it's like, it's just one of those things
fun, though.
where at the same time I'm in, like, and it sounds, I know some people will roll their eyes, but I'm like, yeah, if I was a male content creator and I was arguing, would you be arguing this hard back or? Looking at you, certain speedrunner who always tries and picks a fight with me.
Ooh.
But
Okay,
no other
now we're getting too
male
spicy.
critics. Doesn't argue with any other male critics, but when I say something, he's in my replies like
Uh-oh.
spicy time. No. It's just interesting, and like I said, I really hope Bungie wins this. Because I personally feel like, not just because I'm a fan of Bungie, but because of my experience in content creation, I feel like if they go through, they win this, and they're obviously, if they're not minors, the offenders get named. This could be another one of those landmark cases for content creators that really changes the kind of environment and atmosphere of content creation when it comes to reusing assets and fair use. And then on top of that, also setting a precedent for Google and ultimately YouTube to look at their DMCA system and try and see why this keeps happening.
Yeah, I mean, DMCA as a like legislative measure is broken, but
it's also ancient.
Yeah, but well, it's not that old. It just wasn't very well conceived, but also the way that platforms
I
like
just
YouTube,
mean in terms of digital content laws, it's one of the older pieces of unchanged digital content law.
But yeah, and there's also like the way that platforms like YouTube put it into practice within their tools, also flawed, and allows for this kind of abuse. Like, for you to be able to copyright strike something on behalf of an organization, you should have to prove that you are an authorized representative of that organization, right? Like, that seems pretty obvious.
Yeah. I mean, it's a separate conversation, but YouTube's takedown shit just needs to be, because I've got content creator friends who have gotten their stuff taken down for harassment, and it's simply because someone didn't
pushed a button.
Someone didn't like what someone else had to say in a video about a piece of criticism, or like people have taken down videos just with privacy complaints, and there's absolutely no private information in it.
Yeah.
They just, they showed my face at 1 minute 30, and even though I'm a public figure already, I don't like that because it came from my Facebook.
Yeah, things like,
and had their whole, like, it's kind of
examples,
yucky,
like privacy, harassment, like those things have legal definitions. And for you to claim that it is that, you should probably have to show some cause or proof or some justification before they go and take it down, right?
Yeah. Criticism's not harassment, but that's a separate thing.
My favorite one is when they try to claim defamation, because for you to claim something and dispute a defamation case, you have to prove that it's not true.
You have to prove it. Yeah.
You have to prove that what they said is false. And so that means the truth has to come out either way.
Yeah.
That's always fun.
But yeah. This court case will be interesting. I'm going to watch it closely because I'm a nerd for this kind of stuff, obviously, by the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But I honestly believe this could be one of those landmark kind of situations that'll force not just YouTube and Google, but maybe even other developers and other Creative Commons kind of institutions and places to kind of sit back and
Creative Commons
what
is
they're doing.
A whole other kettle of fish. There's some stuff in there from its initial conception that needs to be fixed because it's also rife for potential abuse. There's a guy, Cory Doctorow, that is worth following his work because he was like involved in the committee that came up with it and is a science fiction author and activist, and he writes these huge threads and articles about like specifically what's wrong with something like Creative Commons and a whole bunch of other like world issues. He's a great writer. But yeah, that he's someone to follow generally because he will also, like this sort of DMCA system, he would probably have something to say about that.
Yeah. But
yeah,
I can see it being big. If it does go through and if they haven't already, they do find those people and they do take them to court. Or as much as they can, because if they're international, that's a whole new kettle of fish. But Bungie being as big of a corporation backed by Sony, there's probably things they can do. Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be super good. I think if it does go to and it goes in their favor, it's gonna change a lot of stuff. Maybe in a really subtle way that the average gamer won't notice, but like nerds like us who like this kind of thing,
people involved with the community for a particular game, yeah, sure.
Yeah. or even just people like me who are in the back end of content creation.
Yeah.
Like, it'll be
Yeah.
fun. Not fun, but you know what I mean. It's going to
Yeah.
be really interesting. Not fun for the people who did the fraudulent claims. I can tell you
Fuck
that
'em.
much.
They're gonna get what's coming to them.
$150,000 each per claim,
Yeah. Get wrecked.
and that's just on Bungie's content. If Bife wants to go in for losses, it'll be that plus Bife's claimable losses.
Yeah, like
Same with the other
average
channel.
views per video multiplied by typical monetization payouts. Like
CPM plus he could probably, if he had a merch advertisement
true.
on
Any
that
sponsor
trailer as
deals?
well. For example, if he talked about Dynasty in that video and had a click-through link for Dynasty, he could also. You'd have to have a very good lawyer to pull it, but there are ways that you could go through for a click-through loss of CPM and revenue as well.
Get them.
I think they should.
Yeah. All right. Now that legal chat's done, I think this episode is done. That's what I say. Chillybin.
Yes, boss man.
Chillybin boss man says it's time to go home.
The IGL.
Yes. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for your patience during our time away, whether that was by choice or by medical intervention. We'll be.
God, couldn't you kill me?
We'll be back again next week, barring some other dramatic issue. Hopefully, we can get Meckii through the raid by then. That'd be nice. Otherwise, we'll just get you up to speed with everything else that's been going on in the game. And we'll have plenty to talk about either way. My quest to gild my dredging continues.
Lucy the Drucy.
I'm gonna goosey that Drucy so much.
Oh, for once in a season / expansion, I'm already almost at the power cap, so soft cap.
That's different.
Oh well, I'm armor cap, and then I've just got to get the levels on top of it. Like I'm already 1559.
You're not. Your gear score is not though. Surely.
No, not yet.
No.
Not yet. But I've got everything I didn't do in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. Okay. We'll talk about that later.
Plus seasonal. So if I knuckle down over my next few days off work, I'll catch up.
Yeah, we'll get you there. Yeah, please keep your sets tuned to error code Blueberry. I don't know. Come back next week. We'll be here.
Walk really slow down your stairs. Don't run.
Especially if they have carpet.
Watch your stairs. Get your stairs before they get you. That's what I learned.
Cut them up real good. All right, goodbye.